What is film entrepreneurship? Yes, I know most of us may scare about that word entrepreneurship. Na everybody already, anytime you ask somebody what is entrepreneurship, ni business. Sini biz, tunachapa biz, that like this is business. So when it comes to entrepreneurship ya film, ni nini? It is the art of applying business thinking into that filmmaking. So filmmaking, as I have maybe mentioned on this platform, it involve various things. Number one, you can be a filmmaker who makes narrative films. You can be a filmmaker who does documentaries. You can be a filmmaker who does music videos, music production. And you can be a filmmaker who does corporate events, social events. And also you can still be a filmmaker who does, let's say, commercials. Yes. So those are some of the things that we do. And even sometimes when we do social events, we tend to confuse them as, si ni kitu tu ya familia, ni friendly thing, si ni beshte yangu tu ako na graduation tu nenda kumshoot tu video. No. Hey, unafaa ujue ini biz unapiga. So if you want to call yourself a film entrepreneur, lazima apply business thinking into everything that you're doing. Kuna mtu anaweza kwambia like, ni aje sikuje tushutie tu hizi video tu. No, ni tu video tu tudogo tu twa marketing tu. Hakuna si hata haita take long. Haita take long, but you will be involved in planning, marketing, pricing, and your risk taking as well. So what are some of these elements that will put you in that position ya kusema wewe ni a film entrepreneur? Number one, you should be able to do good planning. Planning is very key. So when you talk about planning, I'm talking about like you get an idea or you have a concept and you want to work on it. So how do you prepare for it? You just don't wake up ati mseme kwamba like niaje twende utanishoot tu videos, nataka niende kwa hoteli nikule alafu tu advertise hoteli. You have to plan. You can't just go start walking around shooting documentaries of people and you haven't planned. You have to plan. So planning is very key, even including lazima ujue venye unaweza generate a script or a blueprint ya hiyo kazi yenye unaenda kufanya. So planning is number one thing that you are starting to apply the business thinking. Like that is a mind of an entrepreneur. Number two, pricing. Hapa ndo kuna kizungumkuti because we normally tend to have like people mtu tu anaona si kitu tu ni kidogo tu utafanya tu just a few minutes and then you go. But you forget there's a lot that is involved in terms of you from planning, you going to shoot, what kind of gear are you using, how long is it going to take you, and then after how long, the next thing is you ask yourself, what are the maybe marketing and the risks that have been involved, and even including the editing bit now. So hizo vitu zote unafaa kujua unaziprice aje. And another question I normally pose to people, whatever you're charging for that kind of work that you're doing, how do you categorize the pricing? Because you need to think as an entrepreneur. You need to think as a business person. And thinking as a business person when it comes to pricing, you need to factor in a lot of things. For example, your gear has wear and tear. Another thing you need to know how much is transport cost kwenda your setting unaenda kufanya your production. How much are you charging for that idea development? Because you're the one who is maybe coming up with an idea, writing that script. How much are you charging for that? Then again, when you come to sit down and start arranging the work in terms of editing and stuff like that, how much are you charging? Acheni kucharge kazi na njaa. Enyewe njaa ni mbaya. Njaa inafanya watu kuinje bala. Msee anakumbuka tu like, sina rent. So I think hii job inakam itanisaidia kulipa rent. So kenye unafanya, you're asking money that is enough to pay your rent. Yet you haven't factored in, hapo ndani hiyo pesa, unafaa uhae equipment, ama unafaa uhae the staff members or people you're going to work with, utawalipa na hiyo pesa. So unataka kujifanya utaenda kufanya hiyo job peke yako. Yet haukufanya hiyo job ukiwa peke yako, ulikuwa ufanya job ukiwa na team. So that you need to really factor in a lot of things. Rent should be just part of the pricing. Na rent haifai kuwa rent ati unalipa rent yote. Sasa umesema utakufa na hii project juu unataka mzee akinilipa nalipa kila kitu, rent nimemaliza. Factor in kama ile yenye naonaga, I think in the supermarket when you're given a receipt, you're given the pricing of items that you're paying for and how much is the tax and then the total, sindio? So the same way, even hata I think for Kenya Power, KPLC wakikutumia ile message ukibuy tokens, kitambo walikuwa wana divide, sijui kuna water, kuna sijui nini, mpaka maji yenye imetumika kufanya hiyo stima yako, sijui transport nini, all those costs. And then kama umenunua stima ni 100 bob, unapata maybe stima peke yake ni 67 ama 65. The rest of the things have been divided in form of tax, water and other utilities. So the same way, when you're doing pricing for your work, you need to factor in a lot of things. Make sure you factor in some of those things zenye nimetaja hapo awali, including there's logistics, there's transport, there's your skill, there's also equipment. Hata kama equipment ni yako, lipisha hapo ndani because you have wear and tear. Okay, we are going to have a debate around this because mtu atasema like, sasa manze unajua sasa maclient huku nje nini. Wewe tukutane hapa kwa chama ya watu ambao wako kwa media. Kama hauja join chama, niko na chama, so make sure you umenitafuta kwa sababu tunafaa ku-align pia na maclients huku nje. Clients wanatunyanyasa juu hatuna chama. Wewe ushaiona walimu wananyanyaswa na wako na kupet na nat? Tukutane hapa hivi. So kama hauna chama ni inbox. Kuna chama tuko nayo mwecheche. So hii chama inakuja inajua kukubagenia vitu, inakubagenia kwa ma clients nini, unafanya kazi vizuri. Okay? So pricing is a very important element when it comes to when you're thinking about business, and especially in the business side of creative. Then number 3, there is financial management. I think whatever I've mentioned when it comes to pricing, alafu ulete kwa financial management. Financial management ni sasa umelipwa hii pesa, how are you now dividing it? How are you returning it back into business? Because sasa sisi, myself, nimefall victim of it because nimekuwa ile aspect ya okay fine, I'm doing this business, umelipwa, so badala ya kujua like okay umeshalipwa mshahara, so toa ndani mshahara yako, toa ndani pesa ya equipment, ya transport, lipa watu wages, alafu the other thing is enda usave hii kwa account ya kampuni ndio iweze kusaidia for other eventualities or other plannings, maybe other investments that you want to do in your organization. But at the end of the day, sisi tunapata hiyo pesa, tunakula yote. How many have fallen victim of such? All of us, sindio? So, but I'm here to educate all of us as well, so that to fall victim of such, because I think we tend just to address of our need immediately, rather than looking at even the future and how we can be able to invest on the same thing that we are working on. Because uwezi niambia mtu wa duka anauza duka yake pale hivyo, anauza for example anauza nguo, so huyu mtu akimaliza kuuza hii nguo, unajua anafaa kujua pesa ya stock, anafaa kurudisha pesa ngapi kwa biashara na ngapi ni profit, alafu na ngapi ndio atatumia kwa nyumba, atajilipa mshahara. Lakini wewe juu haujaweza kuplan, some of us hatujaweza kuplan ama hatujaweza kuwa na clear financial management, inatupatia a lot of weakness. Na hizi ndio mistakes zenye sisi tuna make as entrepreneurs, wenye wako tunajiita entrepreneurs but you're not entrepreneurs, wenye wako into the film space. So what you need to have is an understanding, like you understand your finances, pesa zako zinaenda wapi, track your money, just don't be using money anyhowly. Hata mimi najua, nimewaambia I'm the best example, but this is something I'm learning, and as I'm teaching I'm also learning. Na kwa hiyo kulearn naweza wapatia example. There's a time nimejipata tu like ndio hiyo umepata job, pesa imeingia, maybe ni deposit imelipwa and stuff like that, maybe umepata umelipa hapa, umeshalipa wages, umebaki na profit, ama hata umebaki na hii pesa yenye umebaki nayo hauja allocate pesa ulitumia for transport, maybe ulitumia pesa ya something else ukakuja kuiweka huku, haujazirudisha, haujazibalance. So what do you find yourself? Because unaitishwa school fees ama you're supposed to pay for something, some utilities in the house, you take that money, you pay for the utilities, and then there's nowhere you account for it. So you need to have a book, you account for all the money that comes in. So that this one helps you inform if you made profit in that business or you did not make profit. So financial management is very key when it comes to having that mindset of a business person who is a film entrepreneur. Then the other thing, which is now number 4, but which is for today, it will be the last one but not the least, is risk taking. Yes. Now, hakuna business ina happen tu hivyo ati like hii mambo hizo kila kitu ni safe, you're playing safe. Hakuna kitu kama ku play safe if you're not ready to take risk. Then don't think about getting into business, because risk taking is another factor that we need to make sure our minds are very open and very engaging to, because sometimes mtu upige hesabu, na I think this is a problem people have come across when it comes to hizi mambo za media. Client anaweza kuita job na ni client haujui, so or maybe umekuwa referred ama alikuwa na online venye tu, maybe mtu anaweza ona hapa online atuite job, akituita job anatuambia ni aje, ni say kujeni tu nitawalipa nini, anatupatia ile scope of work ni heavy, alafu unampatia quotation yenyewe anasema it's okay, we will pay. Then without maybe having form of agreement and stuff like that, hata mkiwa na agreement bado umse anaenda na kurusha, he doesn't or she doesn't pay you, so you end up being in that dilemma of manze, sasa hii ni job nitaenda ama ni job sitaenda, and then what is the risk I'm posing myself to or I'm posing my business to when it comes to the fact that naweza muitisha pesa afikiri nataka pesa. So kuna kuwaga na hizo mitigation, so you start mitigating like around like okay, nikimuitisha pesa ataona mimi sipendi kazi yangu, yet sitaki aone nataka pesa. Wewe hebu taka pesa, wacha kujifanya hapo ati like unajua sasa ni client mgeni, sasa acha tumuonyeshe like hata si ati tunaja na pesa, we have haja na pesa. So whether they are going to pay for it or not, ama kama atafikiria hivyo ni shauri yake, but you make sure you are able to position yourself ready to go and work smoothly, because this is a risk yenye mi pia nimejipata into, na unapata unafanyia mtu kazi amekulipa deposit, then ile tempia ya kudeliver hiyo kazi, unadeliver kazi and then unangoja balance, hiyo balance haitaikuja, then unaanza kuangalia, unaanza kupiga hesabu, ndio nitafute lawyer twende tumsuu ndio tutafute maybe venye atalipa hiyo pesa ya juu. Unaangalia tu zile costings za lawyer, unasema si hiyo tu, hiyo costing ni ile balance imebaki, so anyway unaacha tu kanaenda hivyo. So of course kuna hizo elements za risk taking, na as a business person you have to take risks. However, you need to also be very very keen and careful and be very open minded as you are thinking as a business person when it comes to risk taking, because hakuna haja tena uende uji-expose mahali umeenda job ingine. Kama hii ni example napatana nayo, mtu umeenda job, mnaambiwa ati mnaenda kushoot mtu kwa BNB, and then mnafika huko kwa BNB, huyo mtu anawageuzia, anawaambia mtakunywa chai, mnaenda mnakunywa chai, na njaa zetu za watu wa photography na video, unaenda pale mnakaa chini mnakunywa chai, mkikunywa chai kidogo kidogo mshazima, mmelala, mnajipata mnaamka the following day, saa hizo hata hamna labda hata manguo, na sasa kama hamna manguo si hamna kamera. Anyway, so when you get yourself into that position, you need to be ready. Like, what are some of the mitigating? Because when you think as a risk taker, you already think about the mitigating factors or things that can cushion you from falling into that risk. And these things, itakusaidia to make decisions of maybe engaging yourself into certain businesses with certain clients, or engaging yourself into businesses that will make sense. Because also for me, I think I've made risks on a number of things, including sometimes you decide, fine, we are going to shoot this feature film, and then time yenye mnaenda kushoot, there's a lot of hiccups, amkuwa mmeplania vizuri and stuff like that, then you end up like losing a lot of money while working on it. So please make sure you understand the 4 elements or the 4 pillars of entrepreneurship that I've discussed about when it comes to filmmaking. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out on the number on your screen, and let's continue with the conversation, because I'm going to continue with this conversation in entrepreneurship on the other videos, so that tuweze kufundishana, tuweze kuelewa hii biashara yetu ni gani, because we are in a very 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 risky business. Because I think even for you entering into such kind of a business, manze, congratulations, because we are in a business that needs a lot of advertising, the business that needs a lot of marketing exposure and a lot of risk taking, because we are not here selling any food stuff. So whatever we are selling, the products we have is we are selling wants, so they are not needs. So you wonder like, okay, how will we survive, and this is what we love doing. Hey, I think on to the next video tutakuwa tunaongelelea vitu za how to cushion yourself as a filmmaker when it comes to hizi mambo za entrepreneurship na kufanya business. So it is very very important for you to have the skill and for you to have the knowledge and for you to have that thinking of a business person when it comes to filmmaking or production and such stuff. So until next time, cheers.